The sound of the gospel.
Do this.
I'll try to be serious. I'm sorry.
Oh no, have fun with it.
Have fun with it. That's what we're here to do. We're here to have fun, baby.
I'm silly. I apologize.
Yeah.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, party people in the place to be. It's your boy MAZI. MAZI's World, episode 4?
4, yeah.
Yeah. So we are here today with a legendary guest to my right. DJ, producer, pitmaster.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Brand ambassador of Slab Barbecue.
Marketing director.
Get it right.
Hey, whoever
Shoot
made
him
the
down.
syllabus got to get fired.
Yeah, whoever made that syllabus got to get fired.
That's what I'm just saying.
DJ Protege.
Yeah, man. It's a real pleasure to come down.
Thank you for being on the show. Taking time out your very, very busy schedule to come kick it with us.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. I like what you guys do, and I like that I can walk out of here and be like, "Yo, I'm in the top 5 episodes, son.
Huh?
Top 5 episodes ever, son." And can't nobody take that away from me because there's only 4.
Huh?
Come on.
Come on,
Yo,
man.
Also,
My bad. Matter of fact, let's do it proper. My bad, Muzzy. Can you light up the marquee, por favor?
Oh, yeah. Where's a switch? There it is.
Bright Lights, Big City. Oh, I didn't even notice it said Iron Pro.
Bing bong.
Bing bong. You know the vibes.
Hey, y'all make me feel special. I got
Come on,
bottled
man.
water and M&M.
Come on.
They gave me one M&M and a wrapper, and I was
Come
like,
on, man.
I'll
Top
take it.
tier.
Top tier, man.
I'll take it. It was a good M&M.
So how you doing, man?
No, I'm good, man. On the food side, the Slab is as a restaurant, as a company, we're killing it. We just opened a 3rd store.
Yes, I saw that. Big congrats.
On the music side, I just dropped a new project.
Yes, you did.
I'm not DJing per se like I used to, but I'm practicing in my own ways, like scratch practicing on the like the nerdy kind of digger kind of level of it on my own. And I've been turning down gigs, but I just won't take them no more. But yeah, focusing on music and restaurant now. That's what I'm doing.
That's what's up, man. And speaking of Slabs, like every time we're in Austin, we always pull up.
Oh yeah, you got to, because if you don't, I think I would be offended. I'd be like, even if I don't get a text like, "Yo, we stopped in. I just didn't want to bug you," like type text. If I don't get that, I'll be mad because there's a chance I can't go.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know what I'm saying? I could still at least send you a welcome party.
Yeah, nah, for sure. We always stop through. We always fall through Slabs, and I know me personally, I get the Texas OG.
Yeah, that's a
brisket.
favorite. That's a favorite. I like doing that with the 2-step, or I get it with the sausage and brisket. combo. Yeah, that's like peanut butter jelly combo to me.
Nice.
For real.
You know, for those who may not be familiar with who you are, tell us about the beginnings of DJ Protege.
Man, I'm an Austin kid and had my career as a DJ for 24 years. That crossed paths with the food and the music within Slab Barbecue, and I was brought into that by my friend Raph Robinson, who brought me in to help with some graphic design, some other stuff. And as the company grew, responsibilities grew, and the company kind of evolved, and so did my positions. And so now we're a small, locally owned corporation with multiple stores. And that was a relationship that was started in the club scene from when I was DJing years back. Not even at the beginning, but about the first third of my career. That's where that relationship started. And then as things progressed and things evolved, people change, projects change. I was, it was a natural fit.
Yeah. It's wild that, when it comes to DJing, I've heard some stories about some of the names you've come across, working with people.
Yeah, I've had some fun. No, I mean, some of my first professional credits was with a lot of local artists. Shorty C, T-Double, Bavu Blakes. I mean, those are MCs that I was around. And then that somehow, Well, I mean, not somehow. I know what I was doing. I was grinding my beats.
I was gonna say, you definitely sounded humble right now, you know, but you
Yeah.
was grinding. He was putting the work in.
I was grinding beats back in the day.
Yeah.
And then I was introduced to Trade of Truth and Zero, ESG, and Shorty Mac, and Dougie D, and a lot of the SUC members through my beats. And then I don't know. It's always been a DJ and beats thing, and so I was able to produce for some big name rappers early on. And keep in mind, some of those guys weren't big yet either. Like Zero and Trey were big in Texas, and they were like 22 years old at the time.
I was gonna say, but they may not, like you said, they may not have been big like nationally, like you know, like
but they were selling out. At
but
the
you're
time
talking about in Texas,
yeah,
like,
they were
come
already
on,
selling
man.
out in Texas.
Yeah, for
they were
sure.
already selling out, and ESG. So growing up in Central Texas, ESG was always a big influence with me, with Sailing in the South and Ocean of Funk, and you know, ESG kind of opened up the doors for DJ Screw to the public because of the swing and bang and slowed remix that was on the tapes back then.
For sure.
And so I thought I was on cloud 9 when I got to have the ESG in my studio.
Come on, man. That's got to be an incredible feeling.
Oh,
like,
dude, I was bugging out, but I was playing cool. So I've been really blessed, and I've had some cool opportunities, man. And so I've got to work with some cool people. I've gotten to work with some big people. I've gotten to rub elbows with some people I shouldn't have, but they turned out to be cool anyway. Not everybody's cool though.
Nah, for sure. So before we started recording, you had kind of told a story about one of our good friends, Question.
Yeah.
And
so I
how
saw he
you're
was just on. Yeah.
Right. So I saw how you were connected with him somehow, some way. So if you want to tell that story real quick.
Yeah. So the way and again, I don't necessarily know Question, but I know Question through music and professionally.
Sure.
So alongside with my DJ career, my production career, and doing remixes and stuff, I also did graphic design for years. And that's part of what I do as the marketing director of Slab Barbecue is I'm in charge of all of our branding and our advertising and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
I design everything from products to merchandise to just a monthly sales poster kind of thing. But anyway, so I get a call from my boy JJ at Foundation Media, who started working with Cinematic and John Snipes, and so he was like, "Hey man, I got these graphics projects with this new label, and they're making some moves, man. They got 2 kids that are dope." And he was like, "One of them you need to know because he's from your area. He's from San Antonio." And I was like, "Well, who's that?" And he was like, "Question." And I was like, "I've never heard of him." I was like, "None of my DJs in San Antonio told me about it." I was like, "I just don't know, but maybe I'm not tapped in."
Yeah.
So it turns out it was Question, and so immediately Question was on my radar, and me and Alberto were running BRMG, another promotion kind of company then, and we were putting on shows and South by Southwest events and stuff like that, and same thing in New York. We were traveling, doing those different meet and greets. But that's how Question got on my radar.
Yeah.
Was because the guy that was working his record happened to be one of my really good friends on the industry side, which I ended up doing 2 CD covers for Nipsey Hussle through JJ and John Snipes.
Wow.
When Nipsey was really hadn't even left California yet. He was still Nipsey in LA.
Right.
But he wasn't Nipsey as people know him today. And it was before his first album. It was during all the mixtapes.
So wait.
I did the Best of Bullets 1 and 2
I was just about to ask. You did the covers for Bullets?
The Best of Bullets.
The Best of Bullets.
Yeah,
oh,
so it's been out I think it's been out like twice. So the original release and the second release.
Right.
And I think I did the second release.
Wow.
Yeah. So at the time, okay, here's a good So here's a good example of how real that was. So I'd never heard of Nipsey Hussle at the time. Not really anybody had.
Yeah.
And so I got commissioned to do the CD mixtape cover through that same connection. And so I did it, and I was playing with colors, and I sent it back, and it was red. Nobody told me. Nobody told me his gang affiliation. I'm an artist. Right, and I'm not making beats. I'm not DJing. I'm just doing graphic design. And I've never met this guy. I've never heard a song in my life of him.
Sure.
And then so John Snipes is sent back the feedback. He was like, "Yo, this is really dope, but can you change that to be a blue hue to it instead of red?" And then JJ broke it down to me. He's like, "Oh, bro, he's LA. He's like he's gangster man." And I was like, "Why ain't nobody tell me this?" But I ended up doing two of the covers, and that's just kind of like,
that's incredible though. That's a great part of history.
Yeah, but that's how I knew of Question years back in the early 2000s because of that connection, and I actually got to see his chain that got delivered to him at South by Southwest. Because JJ delivered it. JJ stays at my crib when he's in from New York, And then and so I got to check out the piece and chain, his Question cinematic chain.
Yeah.
Because I think he already had a dope supply when at that point. I can't remember. But it was big.
Yeah.
It was diamond dope.
Nah, I remember seeing that cinematic chain, and
Yeah,
it was like, that piece was just like ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was
I remember when I held it, because it was at my house, my old house in South Austin.
Yeah.
And I remember holding it up, and I was like, yo, like, they got money.
Oh, they got money.
They gonna buy dinner one day.
Right.
Yeah.
So Protege has always been a dope name and moniker or whatever. Just, the...
Oh, man, thank you for saying that.
Nah, for sure.
I'm so insecure about it.
No, so like I've always dug just the title and the name of Protege, because that says a lot. You know what I mean? So the fact, how did you even come up with
man, that's
Protege?
That's on some, growing up in a time in the early 90s when hip hop was about, as far as the lyricists go, it was about synonym, your vocabulary and how expansive it was, and the meaning behind the word.
Because Protege is heavy.
Right. And so the whole thing, I got my first turntables and stuff like 15, kind of turning 16 in high school, and so I remember telling my adopted brother at the time, Matthew, at the time when we were younger, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna be DJ Protege, because I'm not a DJ yet, but one day I will, son, and I'm gonna be a DJ.
That's hard.
And that's where it came from.
And,
and I started doing events and clubs when I was a teenager, and so it kind of stuck. And then I landed a TV show in college radio, and I couldn't really change it. And then I released my first album, and I was like, well, I guess game changing now. And so that's how it got stuck. I was just trying to be cool when I was dumb nerdy.
That's how I feel about my name now. Like, if anybody doesn't know, obviously it's Maserati Marcus, but I shortened it for MAZI. But Maserati Marcus. So when I came up with it, it was a play from a Lloyd Banks lyric. Lloyd Banks had a song called Lamborghini Lloyd off of More Money in the Bank Volume 3. And the line was, you can call me Big Truck Banks, a Lamborghini Lloyd. And I was like, that's dope. So here I am on my Xbox. What gamer tag can I pick? Right?
Hey, I'm not mad, because I play heavy games, and I'm DJ Protege online to this day.
So I was like, all right, cool. Maserati Marcus. I was like, what car goes with Marcus? It starts with an M. And I was like, Maserati Marcus. That's cool. I was like, that's dope.
Yeah, it's
But
fun.
mind you, I was like, like I said, in the early 20s, you know what I mean? 20, 21. And then, of course, the jokes came in, like in the MySpace days, Mitsubishi Marcus or Mercury Marcus and all that shit. And I'm like, that's okay, cool. That's funny. That's funny. But here I am now, 35.
I'm just
Maserati
saying,
Marcus. And I'm like,
I'm just saying. I'm in the wolf's den, and I'm telling you, like, life is good. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If they want to crack jokes, like, I don't see them, I see you. That's all I know.
Yeah, I'm like, cool, like, crack the jokes, that's fine. But here I am, Mazi's World now. You know what I mean? Y'all are watching on YouTube.
I got a homie from the club scene that to this day, like, will crack on me. I mean, and I'm not saying I'm known, but in the DJ world, I've produced over 400 remixes and released them all for free to the public.
Wow.
Yeah, there's just a pedigree behind this stuff, and I don't like try to brag about it, but I will show people when they ask and stuff. And I mean, Protege might have been funny, whatever. I still, like I said, my homie downtown, no matter who I am and known as, like, this dude will walk up to me and be like, "Oh, Proto Baggins, what up?" And I'm like, hey, seriously? I'm like, that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's pretty good.
Dude, he thought about it.
Yeah, that took time. You can tell that took time.
Keep in mind, like, there's DJs that would come see me DJ and they'd be like, yo, pro, what's good? I can't believe, like, you're here still rocking, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Like, and like, people come in town, they would come visit. But then they're like, the people, like, the local cats, like, the dudes that just work with me and see me every day, they're like, they come up with that stuff. I'm just like, I'll eat it. It's funny. It's funny. I mean, I like those movies. I was good with it. Proto Baggins.
That's hilarious.
Growler Domestics. That's the homie that does it. And he's a furniture maker.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, dude, ill stuff too.
Nice. So you just dropped, I guess, an instrumental album, beat tape. What would you like to call it? Because I know people are kind of stickler with names.
People can call it what they want. They can call it a beat tape,
project.
And like, I look at it as an instrumental album.
Yeah.
I tried to create an experience within,
which is my gospel, by the way.
Yeah, it's called My Gospel. It's my testimony into hip hop. That's the only way I can really describe it. If you're a person of faith and you preach gospel, well, my faith is hip hop, and what I preach is beats. And so what I wanted to do is not because I've already released beat tapes and I think that they're dope, but I wanted to have a more focused idea on the project. And
As far as a theme is concerned.
yeah, I wanted it to make sense, and I wanted there to be a feeling like there was a ride involved, and you started out and you're like in the roller coaster, and then it goes up, and then it goes down, and so I wanted to explore and like, could I take what I know is a beat tape? Could I take that and just give it enough more on the production and to change it up just enough and to create something? And that's all I tried to do with it.
Yeah.
Really have fun with the theme, and it just so happens I really dig sampling like old dusty gospel records.
Yeah, for sure. Listening to you guys like Budgie, who is like correlations with Alchemist. Budgie really digs into the dusty gospel samples and stuff like that and flip it and turn it into something of their own. So hearing your project, which I really enjoy, by the way.
Thank you.
Very seamless. It seems like everything just flows from top to bottom in 16 minutes, and it was incredible. I enjoyed it for sure.
Thank you. Well, that's really what I wanted for it. I wanted it to be a single pass listen. Not saying not to repeat it or try it again or go back to your favorite, but I really envision people listening to it from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And taking the ride in the way that when I was a kid would want to just nerd out and listen to the new album and just kind of kick back with my eyes closed and just listen. I did that in preparation of leading it. It wasn't just a mix and a mastering sequence. It was also timing. So I would sit and just meditate in the studio and just let it play and just let it play through and be like, that intro, like it just needs an extra second of breath time. Like little details like that is what I try to pay attention to, along with still trying to make some entertaining beats. And of course the video we did and
the Holy Ghost video was it was entertaining, man. I was gonna get into that for a second.
Church Tours of Austin, this is Pro. We show off the holy history of this city. What can I do for you today? Oh yeah. We can take Grandma out. We got slow walks around all the churches. They get real calm. The old people really love it. Yeah. Super holy. The holiest.
We're going to church. Yeah, we're going to church.
Grow up. I'm pro.
Ian let me live that out at Grow Up 512, the guy who produced the video.
That was dope. I was gonna say, if you want to speak more to that, you know what I mean?
Okay,
as far as driving through certain areas and
so the idea and the concept behind the video, and again, I've got this gospel album, and it's got little preacher services, skits all through it, and each song kind of has its own theme and vibe and kind of tempo to it, almost emotion. Like the outro, for instance, when I'm done.
When I'm done, yes.
That was designed to feel like you're riding off into the sunset, like Clint Eastwood meets UGK.
Yeah,
that's how I wanted to ride the end. Like, I'm a fan of old westerns. Growing up with my uncle, he was a huge westerns fan, so I grew up with that always in the back of the living room playing. And so that riding off into the sunset kind of romantically lives with me.
I was gonna ask you that too. The process of this project. Did you watch anything while making the beats? Like, because I know me personally. Sometimes, like when I want to get into a zone, if I want to focus on a particular sound, I'll turn on a particular film. And I got this I stole this from CJ. CJ, if you're watching, I took this from you because he was a guest on the show. And when he makes beats, he's influenced by Quentin Tarantino. So he puts a lot of Quentin Tarantino stuff on, puts them on mute, and recreates the score for that film. So I tried doing the same thing. So I didn't know if maybe for you may have threw on, like you said, like some Western or something that you may have been inspired by, and then created this project. Because I think you should try it.
No, not in that way. I think of like the projects moving forward from the evolution of I Am Pro 2 to the album before this, Disco Gypsy, into this, going back into hip hop and touching on the gospel samples. I think like in the way of Quentin Tarantino movies, in that way of like the artistic nature, and each one could be unique in that way if you invest the time and kind of nurture it. And not every beat tape or instrumental album is designed to feel like that either.
Sure.
But no, I totally get where you're coming from on that. But as far as like my process in putting, like, this was an idea I had back in 2008.
Okay.
This is like a vision I had in 2008, and I tried to make it live with some rappers, dope MCs that I know. I tried to make it live with them because I didn't think I could do it on my own. At the time, I wasn't so focused on my beats. I was really focused on DJing, but I was doing a lot of beats for local rappers and MCs.
Yeah.
And I tried to make this happen and have somebody be the face of it. Just kind of sheer frustration. I ended up saying, well, what am I waiting for? I've already got instrumental stuff out. I might as well do it on my own. And so in doing that, so the original beats that I wanted to be this gospel project that was an idea, like I said, from 08. I didn't even have the beats back in 08. I was like, ooh, man, that would be dope if this could be a thing. And then I took these skeleton of beats, which were designed for MCs and had a bunch of blank space. I tried to fill those blank spaces in and make the song sound like more songs with no lyrics versus just a beat with a loop. But as far as like the way I build my projects and my current workflow is, I just go into the studio and I make music.
Yeah.
I shop at Goodwills all the time. Don't be stealing my secrets. I'm telling all y'all. I'm not gonna tell you what Goodwill I go to, but I go to Goodwills and I buy records, and you know everybody's taste is different. And looking through by covers just because I bought so many records, and I buy the 99-cent records, and I just go create beats. But I do actively trying to document it, what song got sampled for what beat. Then that gets stored away in one way, where in my vinyl collection, and then I have my organization within my files and my beats themselves. Once I have enough beats and a certain sound just organically without pushing for something, I'm like, oh, maybe that is supposed to be a project. And so by the time the beats evolved with my gospel, I knew already I was supposed to do the album, because I was like, wait a second, I already got the beats done. I just need to like really focus and polish them up and finish the sound and master it.
Right.
And then it was like, okay, well, I got tracks now. If I put it out like this, it's just a beat tape. How can I kick it up a notch? I was like, man, what if I had skits and I thought about actors, and then I found more organic ways for me to do it on my own kind of nerdy lo-fi way to produce it all in-house and not reach out to anybody exterior, except for the guitar player on the outro, Eric Vasquez. I just enjoy that type of stuff, and he's a homie. He's a mentor of mine, and I'm a big fisherman. And he's a mentor in the fishing world. Okay. And he happens to be this super ill guitarist. And so I was like, yo, how would you feel about... He was like, no, I'll do whatever you need, bro. And I was like, really? And so even on the next project, there's going to be more live instrumentation, too. On the next stuff. And then I had to figure out, like, artwork and the video. And that kind of is where the Holy Ghost video came in. So I reached out to my homie Ian at Grow Up Group and Grow Up 512. Because I brought Ian in to help me with some slab projects. And me and him have a dope vibe together when we're working on projects. And Holy Ghost, I knew that was the single before the album was even 100% completed. Yeah. And so the idea was like, well, how could I bring it to life? And so I came up with a concept of a guy, because even here in San Antonio, y'all got him. The haunted house tours.
Yeah, the haunted house tours with the haunted hotels and all that.
Yes. Yeah. San Antonio got it, Austin got it, Dallas got it, Houston got it. So that gave me the idea. It was like, what if there was this crazy dude that was hype about God and hype about Jesus, and he had a historical church tour. And so like I knew Ian had a bunch of wigs because he does all these crazy like training videos. Right. And I was like, yo, bring me a wig. I don't care. I'll do it. So he brought me like the wig, and it just so happened like it worked. And that's where I designed my own like church tours of Austin posters. And so we literally hung up posters around town. Like we treated it like a real video. Yeah. But yeah, and that's how the Holy Ghost video came out. And it was actually done way before the album was. Because I had such a like dialed in focus on what it needed to be. Sure. And in Soul Spasm, the label that I'm signed to, they helped me out on getting a Vivo feature. The day the video dropped, I landed on a Vivo incoming hip hop artist. I saw that. I landed at number 6, which is huge for somebody like me. I'm a nobody in that world, bro. And so like there's a Migos video next to me, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's incredible. It's been great for the looks. I mean, trust me, I'm honored to have got it, and that was all due to the label and what those guys and what Soul Spasm does as a team in New York for me.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my favorites on there, My Faith. I think that was a good one.
That's my favorite on the album.
That's
my
the one.
Favorite. That's my favorite.
I listen to that at least once in the morning.
So I made that, and then I was like, how can I make it better? And then it got better, and I was like, how can I make it better? And I was like, if I gave it to one of my best homies and said, how would you remix? What would it sound like? So I started thinking there's a duality within the song, and there's 2 paths and 2 completely different beats out of that. And that's why My Faith is literally my favorite, because it opens up one way, it transforms into something else, and then it comes back all together it set me on a different trajectory. I learned a lot
Gotcha.
about myself making that one. But yeah, that one, like, I'm glad you noticed that, because that's the one for me.
Yeah.
To anybody, I'm like, yo, if you want to just listen to one song, like, it's either Holy Ghost, because it's like a circus ride.
It's a fun record.
Bro, it's funnel cake. It's the Gravitron. Yeah, it's funnel cake, a Gravitron, and a cold beer in a plastic cup. You know what I'm saying, at the rodeo. And when it's, yeah, because when you're done, you're just like, what just happened?
Yeah, there's a lot going on the Holy Ghost record. It's a
Yeah,
lot.
like there's tubas and trumpets and a horn section kind of thing. Like, but with My Faith, there's very much that kind of nerdy kid in me that wanted to take a very stereophonic ride of just putting on my headphones and nerding out to a record. And that's what I tried to do with My Faith.
Yeah, man. That one and Rejoice is another one that I like too. Just because Rejoice is, to me, when I heard Rejoice, especially coming on the way here to the office, it was perfect. I think it was one of those it was one of those cinematic drives where it's like you're under the city lights. Wow, you know what I'm saying?
That kind of stops me in my tracks, in all honesty, because that's one of the songs to me, and I'm one of those guys that kind of, you know, I do have a long resume, and I in the music side, in the restaurateur side, in the graphic design world, you know, I do have a resume, and you know, at times I still kind of suffer from imposter syndrome. Like, that's very real. Like, I'm an artist, man. Like, I'm very susceptible and in my head and emotional about things, and that song, as much as I love it, like, I love what I did to that, you know, and I showed my influences, like with the little African bottom, snap in there, just to show you little funk, and that's one of the songs in it that I continually second guess, even coming out here, because I was like, I'm gonna listen to it to try and calm down, and when I get to that song, I'm just like, did I make the right choice? And hearing you say that is, I swear, is gonna help me sleep better at night. Tonight, at least.
Now listen, because I mean, with Rejoice, it was definitely a change of pace.
Yeah,
the sound was a little different, but I enjoyed that. That was kind of the like a curveball, you know, from Nobody Knows. Yeah. To, you know, rolling into Holy Ghost and all that. And then with Rejoice, and then My Faith, and then Rejoice comes in, I was kind of like, okay, I like
breathe.
this.
Okay, so going back to that ride and that roller coaster. Yeah. So my intent with the intro, and dude, I went down a rabbit hole trying to, like, I'm talking about, like, I've listened to more 1960s preacher services from tents and revivals than there probably I didn't even know existed. Right. And to come up with that, like, that's destined in itself. Like I'm a religious person, and I'm telling you that it came together supernaturally, and I get goosebumps when I listen to certain parts of it, because I know that some of it really just came together and it clicked. My Faith is my favorite song, not by the name of the song, but I mean, I really kind of take pride in my own spiritual faith, because there's things within it that show in the album, like, how did I do that? Like, the next day, listen back, how did I do that? And getting a intro to be like the way that the intro comes in and impacts and hits, and the way that Nobody Knows kind of drops, like, again, like, I wanted a roller coaster to come up. You start out with that slow intro, and then it's that preaching service, and then it's like the hit, and that's that first drop, and then you're on this crazy twisty turny ride, and then you get to Rejoice, and it's like the roller coaster all of a sudden just hits the brakes on that before you hit lap 2, and you're like,
right. Yeah.
And so I really did try to think sonically and acoustically along that line of creating that ride, you know, emotionally within the sound of it. Yeah. And sonically too. There's things I did within panning and just getting nerdy on the engineering side, to where I wanted it to bump, but I wanted you to hear something happening here and then slap you in the face over there, but then the kick is dead solid. Like, I really wanted to play on the acoustics of it a little bit more too.
Yeah. And hearing passionate as you are when it comes to the music side of things, when it comes to production, I kind of want to nerd out a little bit. Skrills and I, and also Entry, shout out to Entry, we pulled up.
Shout out to Entry, man. I dropped him a new track, like, it's banging.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I'll play it for you guys before we bell. Like, it's gonna be nuts.
When we pulled up on you, and I'm listening to your beats, you know what I mean?
Oh, you talking about the first time we met?
The first time we met.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm sitting there listening to your beats, and it was almost, I came off a little braggadocious of you about, you know, how the beats were being set up and how it was being done. And I'm listening to the beats, and I'm like, his chops are very, very intricate. And I see why So when it comes to the producer brag, this is like the producer brag of the show. When it comes to producers that chop, the intricate chops, their brags are a little different. Take it how you want to take it. But when it comes to you, Ninth Wonder.
Oh, I like Ninth.
Crisis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even Dilla. Their chops are real intricate to where when they put the songs and the puzzle back together, it makes it seamless in their own.
Yeah, so there's things like Holy Ghost. I could play you like the source material for that, and it's almost comical how I went from A to Z.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm like crazy with my chop game. I don't think that's it. I know that I make wacky hip hop.
Now listen, no, wait, because not even really Holy Ghost per se, but even the My Faith record, I listened to that and I was like, okay, the chop game is crazy here. Like the chop game is crazy.
Yeah. So,
look, Skrill, even Pro was like, okay, I'll give you that one. I'll give you My Faith. My chop game on that one was alright. It was kind of nice. I'll give you that.
Okay, so I'll toot my own horn on things that I've grown to. I'll toot my own horn on this.
Yeah.
Because it is a learning process to me, and I really do look at sampling and chopping and reinventing sound in that way. I do really look at that as its own art form. In the way that I could tell different DJs by their scratch patterns, it's very simple for me and for a lot of hip hop heads to determine within a glance of like, oh, that sounds like so and so.
Yeah.
And so what I've tried to do is, because I'm influenced by those guys, no doubt.
For sure.
Like I got records that I've done that I've released that I can tell you, like, there's bounces in it that I'm like, man, that was straight up inspired by Dilla. He gave me the courage to step into that realm because he made it okay.
Yeah.
And I think and I look at producers like Premier and like, you know, where some of my craziness and chops and the way I bring in elements and make them dodge and dart each other within the tracks. Like I think about Premier because Premier would be like, burp, and like he has these three elements that don't exist on the same plane, but he makes them talk in a conversation that works within the production. These are hyperboles, dog. I'm using real words here, but I'm saying like in that soundscape, like he does a thing to where he takes multiple elements from different backgrounds, but then brings them together. I feel like Pimp C did some really dope work with loops. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that not only was Pimp C producing for UGK, but he was also sampling and playing, and it evolved from sampling to samples and guitars to eventually straight guitars.
Country rap tunes.
Look at like one of my favorite all-time records of all time, and I've told this to Bun B himself, GOAT, straight up, is Feds in Town off of Super Tight.
Yeah.
That's a Hall & Oates sample.
Yeah.
But it's bananas, and it's like he was on, and that's a loop, by the way. That's not even a chop. That's a loop,
right?
And so there's differences within sampling to me. Loops are one thing, chops are another thing. I've gotten to the point within sampling because of my nerdiness and how I guess play music is harmonizing samples, and a lot of that went on in this album. And taking multiple samples from the song and harmonize them in ways that weren't supposed to be in creating. I don't know. I've gotten really crazy with it, and I think sometimes maybe I go too far. But in this case, I try to make that what's speaking English to English folks still, and what's speaking French to English folks. Because I want it to be entertaining and I want it to be a fun listen, but at the same time, I do want to flex my muscle.
Yeah.
So
as all producers do. I know for me personally, and I've gotten flack from other producers. I'm not going to drop any names or whatever.
I'm waiting for the MAZI beat tape and instrumental. I'm just saying.
Yeah, me too.
I'm just saying. I'd love to be the coach on that and just help you put it out.
Oh no! I mean, I'm down. I just need another hard drive.
Beat selection starts tomorrow, guys.
I just need another hard drive, and we back at it.
Hey, it's on the Christmas list.
That's on the Christmas list. So when I had dropped, when I was doing the Road to Fiesta series, that had gotten some love. But of course, you know, some critics were like, maybe if you would have chopped this a little bit more. But I guess my style is like, I don't like interrupting the melody a little bit when I find a loop. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's true. I think there's a fine line, and then there's a fine line of when and when not to.
Exactly.
And then at the same, well, maybe not a fine line. It depends on where your imagination's taking you. But at the same time, and this is where it gets crazy.
But I think you know what you hear when you find it. You know what I'm saying?
In your defense, what I'm about to say is that, and this is where I have to, like, I've even had to take a step back in my own kind of ear. It's all subjective and it's all interpreted by the person who's listening to it at the time.
Yeah.
So if you're a person that wants a louder kick and prefers like that lo-fi sound to where it's really no bass line, but but it's just a hard kick, a hard snare, and then, you know, very minimal in the mix is the sample, and it's not so chopped intricately. That's a sound.
That's a sound.
And I totally respect that. The only thing that I could say in your defense is, if that's the way you intended it, I don't care what nobody else says.
Exactly.
Because if you came to me and said, hey, Pro, this is my new album about to drop. I want you to take a listen to it. This is what it's going to be, and this is the intention. I would rock with that no matter what.
Yeah.
Because everybody has a sound. I have a beef with people who always want to say, like, oh, well, I could do this for you. I can increase you. I can beef up your sound, do that and do that. It's not my sound if you change it.
Exactly.
Like, it's not my mix. It's not my bump. It doesn't matter if it doesn't hit. There's a sound that is me, and it also includes in the mix. So when Dilla's album came out and it wasn't sonically punching on every speaker, because listen to a lot of Dilla's drums on Donuts. They're weak.
They're weak.
They don't.
Very
They
weak.
don't. But the art is in that sound.
Exactly.
But if you dropped a tape and you're like, man, your drums don't bang hard enough. Well, how come you didn't say that about Donuts?
Right.
But you want to say that about mine. So it's very subjective, and I really try to accept everybody's music in that realm, because even it's subjected by lo-fi standards, because lo-fi is, in a sense, it's little brother, but then lo-fi is also people like Danny Brown.
Right.
And people like Black Milk.
Yeah.
That's lo-fi too. So,
Lo-fi, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then, so Lupe Fiasco, he's in a sense lo-fi, but his production is straight up Sony Entertainment Center, three-dimensional sound. You know, you got the goggles that come with the album kind of thing.
Man.
Yeah, to that, I would just be like, whatever, you're talking, you don't know, you're out of your neck, you don't know.
Yeah.
If I'm in the studio banging it and I work 30 hours on mixing this down, and I think those drums bang hard in my studio with my Yamaha set up, and I've got the nice monitors and the subwoofer kit, and it's all tuned to my room, if I think it's bumping, unfortunately, like, I respect the criticism and feedback, and I'll definitely take it in.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna rock with my gut.
Right.
And don't ever let those people say that.
Yeah, no, I definitely didn't, because I definitely gave him some
I mean,
chops.
it's nothing to fight over for sure, but I think
Nah.
it's just something to take in consideration, because I think at the end of the day, Pro may have his opinion of MAZI beats, but only MAZI can say what's right.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, because even then, I still gave him chops whenever, well, when I did the project for Baby Astro, when we dropped Mo Money.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's the other record? At the Top. The chops were crazy on there, and then that's when the talking stopped. So I was just like, all right, cool, y'all got it.
So I don't. I think what I've done is I've learned to block out what people may want to hear, and I'm just creatively making what is appealing to me.
Yeah.
But my question to you is, within those projects,
Uh-huh.
could you hear the growth between the mix, the production style, and the change? Could you hear yourself from the first to the second to like can you tell the difference in yourself?
Honestly,
like, I know where I was at that time.
Yeah, for sure. I know when it comes to certain sounds, especially how one thing started and how I end up finishing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, just the styles and how I approach what I want to be done. I think the approach changed for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll hear one thing and I'm like, all right, cool, I could do it this way and I could do it that way. All right, cool, that's done. But then when I approach another record, it's like, okay, how can I top the next one? And it's literally just one upping each and every beat of mine.
The way I attribute that is on each time I do something, I learn a new technique or a new trick, and I have this trick in this tool bag that just I keep acquiring tricks and tools.
Yeah,
and so with each project, my imagination gets bigger because my tool bag gets bigger, and then and honestly, a lot of my influence is from my favorite artists. I look at an Outkast album, and in every album there was growth and there was an evolution in the sound. And I look at Madonna, and I look at Britney Spears. You can call it pop or whatever, but there's a real, beautiful butterfly within the art of what they did and what they set out to do.
for sure.
Outkast sounds like Outkast because that's what they set out to do.
Absolutely.
And so I respect those different sounds and those different, textures and all for sure. But, those different artists, they all had an evolution to their craft. And I mean, look at Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash was kind of done and retired, and then Rick Rubin reinvented a man that we only knew for one thing, but now as hip-hop heads we know that Rick Rubin is a hip-hop guy that did his last 3 albums before he died.
Yeah.
And some of his most iconic work. Rick Rubin produced Hurt. That's the Beastie Boys, LL Cool J producer.
Right.
He produced Run DMC.
Right.
And so I look at those the evolution of producers, and I'm not comparing myself to them. What I'm saying is, yeah, I want to evolve like my favorite artists do, and I think that's something that everybody should really try to strive for if they take their craft serious. Not every rapper looks at it from the level that I do of like some nerdy artistic stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just an artist, and it oozes out through my photography, through my graphic design, through my music, through the restaurant and the recipes, and shoot, the way I like to dress. I'm a Renaissance man, and I dig it.
The more you know, evolution is key, people.
I'm saying.
So with that being said, it's actually a really good segue. Transitioning to barbecue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, how did that come about? What made you be like, you know what? Let me get into the barbecue game.
It wasn't even that I was always into barbecue just because
Besides being in Texas.
Yeah, well, so
Texas being a barbecue state. And all
yeah,
that.
I'm a Hernandez kid, man, and growing up in South Austin, my family owned a rodeo arena, so we always had cookouts, and we always had calf roping in the back on the family property out behind my grandmother's house. And so there was always barbecue going because my family was into cooking barbecue back in the 70s and 80s, like traditional Texas style.
For sure.
So it was always a fresh brisket, and my grandmother and my aunts would always make the tortillas. And so it was always that kind of connection for me, and that's how I grew up.
Yeah.
No music in the family, but heavy baseball family, heavy into horses and cattle kind of family. Country Mexican folk, really. I got introduced to hip-hop just through school and b-boying and rapping and graffiti, and that led into the DJ career. And then so as the DJ career evolved and blossomed, so I met Raph Robinson in Firehouse Lounge, which was one of the first kind of nerdy kind of hip-hop head hangout, one of the first ones.
Yeah.
Because we always played, we were playing Mos Def, and people were rocking out and bottle popping to that back in the day. It was like hip-hop, but it was also reggae. And so my relationship with Raph progressed from one club to another club, and then I went on with him and had success at both of them. And then Raph decided to get out of the bar business. He left on some spiritual stuff. He was like, I got to change some things in my life, and I don't want to be a part of the alcohol industry in that level anymore.
Gotcha.
And I was floored because I thought weird because, man, I just had a bonus. They flew me out to Las Vegas. And I thought that was like, I was heartbroken. I was like, man, we were on the streak. But we always kept in touch. And then he went on to open a coffee shop, and he would bring me in to do graphic design and help do events with him as a freelance guy. And he brought me into working a project at building a brewery, to where I helped with some of the entertainment and some of their events. And then he was like, yo, you got to try this food truck that I'm getting involved with, man. Like, I want you to take a look at it. So because of the events over at the coffee shop, in comes Mark and the original, the firstborn slab barbecue food truck. This is before food trucks were a food truck. There were still roach coaches, like there were taco trucks. They were not what we know of them today.
Right.
And then so Raph kept talking about this food truck. So at one of the events that I was DJing at the coffee shop, the food truck was there. I tried it. I was mind blown. I was like, whoa, this dude isn't doing what I'm used to. Because I grew up in this area. I grew up in a barbecue family, at least on the cook side and the competition side, not the restaurant side. And everybody was always into barbecue. And I was floored because it was done. One, it was done in a sandwich. And then two, I got the notorious PIG. I was a hip hop head.
Yeah.
And so I had to try it. And so there was like this really flavorful, and I knew about Carolina barbecue because of me being a barbecue nerd. And because I used to be in Lockhart all the time with my boy Noel, because we were big into shooting guns, and there's a range we'd go to. And we would just take trips on our own, just like on dude trip, just to go get barbecue and go shoot guns all over the state. We were all about it. Plus, DJing took me everywhere, and I made it a point to eat all the time. Yeah. And in Houston, I was DJing, and I was eating barbecue, or I was doing burgers. I'm a big fan of burgers, too.
Me too.
Yeah, dude, I drive for burgers, bro. I drive. Like, I flew to Santa Fe, and then drove an hour to Abiquiu to get a green chili burger, and then drove an hour back. Not to mention, I had to rent a car when I got to Abiquiu. Or when I got to Santa Fe, I had to rent a car.
That's an expensive burger, man.
Dog, it was so worth it.
I'm guessing it was worth it.
It's so I have like all these burgers that I hit, and I plan out like my burger route.
Oh,
I really do. I really do. And I've taken friends, because I've bragged about it so much, I've taken friends to New Mexico to go try these burgers with me. I've had them fly out with me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like real talk. Mike Swing, Noel, I've taken them both out there.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so I had this amazing barbecue sandwich, and then I still didn't. I got it, but I didn't get the whole picture because the restaurant had been formed it to where it really tied in hip hop and the sound and the feel and the ambiance.
Sure.
And so when the restaurant started under construction, Raph called me up after, I worked with all these other products and he brought me stuff. He's like, yo, I want you to come in and, I want you to help me with like some of the look and the design work. And, it just is we're starting off and things could grow and the possibilities. And I was like, okay, I kind of like this. Like I've always been into barbecue. I already cook at home and do barbecue already. And I was hanging out with one of my best friends at the time was a cordon bleu sous chef at a poppin' restaurant in Austin called 219 West. This is like the posh stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I was hanging out with like sous chefs and stuff back then. And so I got brought in to help with some of the design work. And before, that's our slip mat on the wall. For people that don't know, that's Slab Barbecue, because I always try to keep it real in the restaurant and bring in the DJs and the artists and keep that hip-hop vibe alive. For people that don't know, the restaurant is about merging hip-hop and barbecue because that's what we grew up on.
Yeah.
And, and I tell people, it's not my dad's barbecue. And I say that not as in my dad ever owned a restaurant, but my dad grew up with plated barbecue. That's what it's called. It's 2 meats, 2 sides, 3 meats, 2 sides, and a piece of bread. Or crackers. We have very elaborate layered sandwiches and
shout out to the Dunk.
Yeah, the Dunk. Yeah. That's a 1 pounder.
Let's go.
Yeah, not a humble brag. That sandwich and the McDowell got us on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
Yeah.
Come on.
Twice. Come on now.
Fan favorite. Like that's real talk.
And I seen the show and when I saw I seen what's his name?
Guy.
Yeah. When he saw that sandwich, I felt like he thought like, oh man, hold on.
Oh no, he was floored. Like that was the whole reason why we got him, because his producers were very much like, he's gonna love you guys.
Yeah.
He was like, the way that y'all are just bringing hip hop, and the whole stores, all of them got graffiti all over them. And so when he came, he saw it all online and stuff, and then once the producers gave it to him, and then he was like, oh, this is cool. And then so then it was this, and then so they had to research this and check the authenticity.
Yeah.
And so he was floored by it, and like so his reaction. Like, he gave us credit for inventing the real rib meat sandwich. We call it the McDowell. So 2 years into the restaurant, we came up with this idea to do a real rib sandwich because we were really trying to knock on McDonald's. We really were like those. That
McRib is trash. It's a fake. It's a fake. It's a fake rib sandwich.
It's bologna with lumps in the side of it, like to give it riblets. It's ridiculous. And so what we did is we literally take the time. It doesn't sound like this crazy thing. Take the bones out of rib, make a sandwich with it. It sounds crazy, but when you're in the line of quickness and fast and trying to get a plate out, and it really does slow you down. But our guys, like, they sucked it up like a champ, and they learned how to do it to where now Jefe, our pit boss, Eduardo, was like, yeah, we have a Mexican pit boss, dog. He's gangster. He's dope. He's the coolest dude. He's hard, and he can cook a brisket like nobody's business.
Yeah.
And like, he's got it down to where McDowell, dos. Take it out, boom, boom, and it's done. And so that little bit of effort is what landed us on that TV show.
Yeah.
And we quite literally invented the real rib meat sandwich. That's what we do, is we've tried to reinvent barbecue. Not just to reinvent it. It really is, because like it comes out of Mark, and what Mark Ovlos, our pitmaster and one of the founding members of Slab. I forgot to mention him earlier with Raph, but you asked about the introduction.
Yeah.
But Mark is one of our senior partners that it was originally his brainchild, and being a hip hop fan, like he was like, man, how can I bring my music? Because the restaurant originally, before it was a food truck, was a food trailer that started on UT campus, and it started because Mark was making barbecue sandwiches to UT students walking down the street, and they'd come by to get a chopped beef sandwich or a pulled pork sandwich, and Mark would be bumping hip hop on the speakers.
Yeah,
that's where it all stemmed from. And then you get a club guy and a club DJ kid, and there's other guys that are involved as well. But we're the three that really work hard on keeping that identity and making sure we keep it real to who we are as a company. And what it is just hip hop and barbecue, and it's based on sandwiches and not the old school 2-plated thing.
Because I'll tell you what, I'm hungry just thinking about.
I would have brought it, I would have had to bring like raw, cooked meats.
No, for sure.
The bread would work.
It's just it's a dope environment every time we pull up to Slab, man.
I mean, and then when you look at the restaurant and you know that I'm a DJ and one of the guys was a club owner and the other guy's this uber hip hop nerd, and like actually meet the guys that are kind of shaping what we do on a day-to-day basis, you understand it very quickly. Like, oh, I see why there's graffiti everywhere.
Yeah.
All three restaurants have the same graffiti artists from day one. Cask and Blocka, they've been doing it up from day one.
Nice.
That's dope, man. That's
yeah.
that's consistency for sure.
Yeah, it's just
sure.
they're family, man. Like, dude, when I dropped my gospel, Blocka, the guy that I look up to as a graffiti artist, internationally known, and because he's been publicized a bunch over the years.
Yeah.
And so he hit me up on the album, and he was like, "Yo, I just did 4 run-throughs on the album. It's crazy." And I was like, "Dude, thanks for listening, man." Because I'm a fan of him. Because I'm such a fan of my friends.
Yeah.
Like, it trips me out that they actually listen. Because I'm a huge fan of them.
Sure.
And so, you know, I still bug out on the homies and stuff. But we're able to, you know, to not only work with those guys, but to, you know, and bounce off each other on the energy level of the stuff. And so we, you know, just keeping it real on the music and the food side.
So with that being said, because I mean you've done it all. Squirrels, is it clear to say he's done it all?
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I don't know.
I don't know what
Shit, you done more than me.
You've done way more than I have.
I don't know.
You've done a lot. So
I feel like I haven't done enough, to be honest. Like,
Yo, and that's what makes you do more though.
exactly.
yeah, no, seriously,
Super
like,
respect for that.
Like, because I look at people like the guys that I kind of feel like I was kind of shadowed under. Not that they kept me in the shadow or anything, but I look at people like DJ Knick-Knack. And as a DJ, like, you could be a DJ and just be a DJ.
Yeah.
Or you could be like that hip hop nerd that takes it to a scientific level. And I always looked at him as like that dude that was putting out creative projects and like continually doing stuff, even on his own accord. And you may not have seen him out run around talking about it constantly, but he was always dropping something and being creative. And those are the guys that I kind of, not only was I a peer of because it coexisted by them, but I also looked up to them because I've always been a fan of my friends.
Yeah.
And so, like, looking at people like that drop projects and do creative things, if I wasn't doing what I was doing, I would feel like I feel like I'm letting them down because, like, it's a race to me. And those guys, like, I look up to them so much, like, I want to keep up with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and so like, that's where I get the mentality of, like, I just haven't done enough. I haven't done enough on a day-to-day. And like I said earlier, I wasn't kidding about the long resume. I'm really proud of that. I'm not trying to impress people.
It shows where you came from.
Yeah,
and how long you've been doing this. You know what I mean? And
I
you've
still
come a long
live
way.
Like normal. I'm not rich by any means, and I'm not anybody special. But you know, I don't let, like, my success is I tend to measure it differently nowadays than I used to, and it's more so by like the kind of legacy I've already touched, and in like, as an artist, like, I've got my hands in a lot of crazy things. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm still producing shows to this day. Shows that some of them I won't even be on. It's just about putting on the next generation because I believe in them. There's this kid I've been following, DZ Brown, out of Austin.
Black owned everything, still trying to decide where to go to get this wedding ring. Somewhere down in Texas, Blaze chop on the Lexus Prada. Handbags, life's a party and she's the pinata. Inside joke.
Well, not from Austin, but he does a lot of work in Austin, but he's from Bastrop, Texas.
Okay.
Where I spent a lot of time growing up because my mom and dad live out there. I lived with my aunt and uncle in Austin, but I would go out to my mom and dad's quite a bit.
Yeah.
And he's, to me, he's the next generation of music in Austin, and his sound is dialed in. His team behind him is dialed in. The art direction is dialed in. And it blows my mind that he's the next generation. I think he has the it factor in the sense of, like, it's very authentic, dope hip hop, and he's the next thing to go. And so, like, I just want to see if I could help push him along, kind of thing. Because I know that, I mean, I'm 42 now, and by hip hop standards, man, I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
Right.
Because hip hop is all about
the kids,
testosterone in the next generation.
Man, for sure.
Not that there isn't a place for me. It's just that I really do believe in, like, seeing the next guy go further than what I did, and I find I've, you know, within, like I said, within my legacy, like, I find a lot of joy in that because, like, I'll be able to look back and, like, my son thinks I'm crazy because of all the music stuff that I do. But one day I think about it, and my kid's gonna be like, "Hey, yeah, Grandpa, yeah. Grandpa's got albums out," like, you know, like, and you know what I mean? Like, I think about stuff like that.
Yeah, man.
You know, and, like, how's my kid? Because my kid, dude, he doesn't care about any of the stuff that I do, and it's just like, "Dad, you're dumb." But then I'll get, like when I Am Pro 2 dropped, I land front page of Apple Music. next to notable artists for like a good week on Apple front page, and I tried to show my kid, and he was like, "Whatever, Dad." But yeah, like that's the reality of like 42-year-old producer hip hop DJ. You know what I'm saying?
So what advice would you give the next DJ, creative, entrepreneur? Like, you're honestly wearing 3 hats. What advice would you give to that person that wants to follow in those footsteps?
Man,
because it's a lot to do, and it may be discouraging a little, but but you've done it. You know what I mean? And to be honest, in my eyes, you set a great example. Everybody doing it out here, man, because it's a lot, and you've honestly paved the way.
I hope so, because there's guys that did it before me that I looked at. You know what I'm saying? There's guys that I could tell you help open doors, like a Mike Swing and like a Flow Rock, and that help open doors. And so there was guys that cut for me all along my career. I mean, I was definitely lucky, and sometimes I walked into a room I wasn't supposed to be into, and I just met people. Like, I've been at industry conferences. That's how I met Bizarre from D12, is because I was just like, in a conference, and I was like, "Yo, I'm not scared to just say hi. I'm a college radio DJ." What I'm saying is that my artistic drive does not let me stop what I grew up doing, because there's something in me, and there's a dedication in me to where even if I wasn't going to put out another album tomorrow, I'd still want to make beats on the weekend just to kind of cool out and just vibe out and just because I nerd out. Because as a producer, when you can make stuff all day till you're blue in the face, and you're just like whatever, and you put in your time and your hours, and you come back the next day and you do that same routine of I'm just gonna hit some buttons, but then all of a sudden it snaps. And then you got magic, and then that's where you start to build that next MAZI album. That's where you start to build the next Pro album, but you have to run those paces. And when I say when I went into the advice part is you got to stay dedicated to it. And how many times have you seen it where a dope MC, a dope rapper, it starts out as the art, and they get caught up trying to make a living out of it, and they forget that there's an art, and they just stop doing it. But what I'm saying is that it took years and years of repetition and dedication to do it. And if you're not in it for the art, then you're in it for the wrong reasons, because you're wasting a lot of time.
That's a fact.
But no, you have to put it, like my advice was just, man, if you're serious about it, ask yourself about it and keep it 100 with yourself. And really, you have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Are you really killing it, or are you just saying you're killing it? Are you making a beat, or are you making 100 beats? Are you networking and when you're going out, or are you just drinking and talking about, oh yeah, I'm hustling, I'm doing my thing, I'm woo-de-woo? Like, so if you can't be honest with yourself and face that dedication, then you will fall off, and it's only a matter of time. You have to put in the time, and you have to be dedicated to it, because there's people that are way more. And if you see them as like that pinnacle of like, yo, I want to be on that level, you're going to really have to commit to the level it takes to do that. I'm not eating today, I'm getting bologna sandwiches because I gotta, there's a new NPC coming out, I want that. Well, I'm doing bologna sandwiches for a month.
Yeah.
Like that kind of dedication. Like, you have to dedicate yourself to the craft. I tell people all the time, if you don't talk to the muse ain't gonna talk to you. We've had this conversation.
Yeah.
So you know what it feels to be like, this isn't popping. I know you like it, but it has to be right for me before it goes out. And in order to get those moments, you have to walk those paths. Yeah. That dedication to the craft. Just dedicate. That's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's enough said. Skrills, what you think, man? I
think there's some rappers, artists, whatever out there right now looking at this like, God damn it, I ain't doing shit in my life.
Hey man, you can only be on. You could lie to me all day, and I wouldn't be mad at you. But you're gonna lie to yourself. Like, I mean, it's like shooting yourself in the foot.
Nah, for sure.
And this is honestly, Pro, why we
wanted to have you on here too.
Yes, and just why we ended up doing this, man, for convos exactly like this, because I know someone's gonna watch this and they're at that inflection point where like, is this worth it? You know what I mean?
Yep.
I've believed in a lot of artists that eventually stop believing in themselves. And the way I think about it is like, how much of an artist were you if you quit before you had the chance to really butterfly out of your cocoon?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and this is no shots to anybody or nothing like that, but it's just one of those things like, if you're really dedicated to it, how much? Did you dedicate 80% of your efforts? Or did you only dedicate 20% of your efforts?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know all the answers, but those are questions I ask myself, and that's how I get my stuff out nowadays.
Yeah.
It's just being honest with myself, like, am I doing enough? And I don't think I am.
I swear, guys like him with questions, they're the same thing. I'm not doing enough when they got 1,000,001 things when they play.
That's why they on speed
Dude,
dial.
But yeah, that's why they on speed dial. That's why y'all are in the contacts and we contact y'all. Man.
No, I like people that are producers, not in the sense of music, but just the people that grind and just the homie Avi started with Table Manners Crew and DJ Crew in Austin, and then now he's booking at Empire and he's responsible for shows. And not only does he put on dope shows, he puts on really dope artistic shows. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like he brings like the DiBiase's and he brings these dope underground shows, but those people are the ones that, like, it may not be making music, it could be just, your art maybe you're just great at the curation of shows, and like he is, and like he kills in that realm. Yeah. And that's what I mean. Like everybody's different. It's not just about music. These rules, I think these rules of dedication and being honest with yourself apply to everything.
Yeah. Just put in the time, put in the effort.
10,000 hours, bro.
10,000 hours. That's key.
Hate it or love it.
Right. That's part of the game.
Where we go from here?
Drop your socials, man. But besides going to grab something to eat.
Oh yeah, I want to do that.
Drop your socials where everybody can find you, man. And
you can find me on Instagram. It's I am DJ Protege, like I'm DJ Protege. Vivo, DJ Protege Vivo. Very simple, quick Google search. Apple Music, Pandora, Spotify. I'm on like 30 platforms, I found out recently.
Talk that talk, man.
I didn't know there was that many. I thought it was like 4.
Talk that talk.
I'm old. I'm sorry.
My Gospel out right now.
My Gospel's out now. It's an 8-song. I like to think of it as an instrumental album. It's instrumental hip hop for sure, but it's out now, and I really encourage people, if you do want to take the time to take a listen, enjoy it with some headphones. Enjoy it on a car ride. Enjoy it when you're just having your coffee in the morning. You could really zone out and just play it loud and just take it for a ride and enjoy the experience. Whether you comment back to me or not, I may not ever know, or you know what I'm saying, but that's what it was designed for, and I encourage to kind of fall in love with music again in that way of like, okay, what's my favorite artist doing? How did the Pimp a Butterfly came about? And take those rides. And because this album, even though it's only 8 songs, was designed in that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, another thing too, just a little shameless plug. We got 2 new products coming out in the slab barbecue world. We have the Dirty South All-Purpose Rub. It's brand new, Slab Barbecue Dirty South All-Purpose Rub.
Okay.
Steak seasoning for comp level stuff, brisket, you name it. It's good for everything.
Can that go on chicken strips?
Yes.
Yes.
And then so for people who do know the restaurant and what we've done, so if you've ever had our ribs, which we have some awards for because we actually compete as a restaurant, we still do barbecue comps. So we're releasing our rib rub. It's called Swine Swag. So that's going to be available for purchase soon. So, and I have leaked them onto our Slab social media. That's Slab Barbecue at Slab BBQ. And that's an easy Google search between the merch, the sauces, and the rubs. And so those will be hitting just in time. We're going to have more I'm trying to have them ready so at least there's another 2 weeks before Christmas hits. Because we got them unexpectedly, production chain issues and crap. Yeah. But yeah, we got new rubs out. Yeah, they're sick. I'm proud of them. Yeah, they're pretty dope.
On the way, man.
Shout out to Mark and Rav and the whole Slab Barbecue team. And we really came together on this because these 2 rubs alone, it's like over a year in production for us.
Gotcha.
From recipe to artwork to packaging to manufacturing and FDA approvals and all that stuff. So like we're legit. We're ready for HEB, but they ain't ready for us.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen,
bing bong. I wanted to say that all day.
Screws to my left, DJ Protege to my right.
Yeah, man.
It's your boy MAZI. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. Thank y'all for tuning in for another episode of MAZI's World. Also, I know I'm not usually the type to do this, but leave a review on the podcast pages, whether it be Spotify.
Hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get podcasts. Be sure to leave a review, all that good stuff, and on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. More content on the way. Pro, thank you for pulling up to the show, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Like, with the people that don't know I'm using, I drove for this.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
These guys,
Thank you.
look, I'm gonna let
Yes,
y'all
you
know on the
did.
camera right now. These guys are important to me. Skrills has always been important to me. It was a pleasure to come down and be a part of this because I've seen you guys evolve, and I've seen from when the ideas started flowing to now, and that was like, bro, I'm driving down. Like, I want to do this, and like I was.
That's love, by the
Yeah.
way. That's
I'm happy to be here, and we're gonna grub.
I know. Yeah, let me wrap this up because we're about to grab something to eat, man. I don't know if we're gonna find a burger spot or whatever. What's the plan, fellas?
I think it might be the El Camino, man.
Talk to me,
Ricky. We pulling up.
Yes, sir.
We
Holla
pulling
at
up.
your boys.
All right, we'll see y'all. Y'all be safe. Peace.
Maserati.
So focused, I just need some meaning to my name. Plus, I'm cheating with these codes. If you thinking it's a game, that's real talk. Man.